Hello everybody, it's the Gaming Champ back with another video. I've got something a little bit different today. It is Final Fantasy TCG related, but I built a deck the other night using some new cards because if you've watched my other videos you know that I haven't made any decks with sets 2 and 3 yet, so I went ahead and built one. I've had some I did a couple of dry runs with it, with the original. This is the second incarnation of it because there were some cards that didn't seem like they were going to be useful. So yeah, but we'll go ahead and jump in. I'm calling this deck the Minerva Discard Control or Minerva Hand Control. I'm using that simply because, you know, just hand control or discard control sounds boring. So my top end of the deck is this card Minerva. It is a 7-drop light card that's 10,000 power, and it's a forward. And this is that one that I talked about where they, at the beginning of your main phase, all of your forwards get 3,000, or all characters opponent controls lose their ability, or you draw a card. So I just added this at the top end because all of those abilities are very powerful, and if you drop this towards the end of the game, it could just pretty much win the game for you. So that is a heroic card from set 3. I'm using a foil version just because, you know, it's shiny. One more thing. I will have the deck list along with all of the serial numbers for the cards in the description, so that if you want to find those cards and build a deck similar to this, you can. I will also have a little breakdown in there of ratios of the rarities and what was the other thing? Rarities and something else. But there's a couple breakdowns in there for you to look at if you want. But let's go ahead and jump in after that. So this Minerva is a one-of, very, very interesting card. We're going to go ahead and start with some of the forwards, and the first one is this is a Zidane from set 3. I do have 3 of those in the deck, and this one is pretty self-explanatory. When Zidane enters the field, your opponent reveals his or her hand, you select a card from it, they discard it. So this kind of fits with the entire theme of the deck. And then this has an added bonus of when your opponent has 2 or cards or less in their hand, he becomes a lot more powerful. Just really fits the whole theme of the deck. And I am doing the full play set of 3 in there. The next card, I chose this one obviously based on theme as well. This is a 3-drop Serah from set 1. And it's a starter card. And this one is very simple. It's a 3-drop blue for 6,000. And when she enters the field, your opponent discards a card. A very simple effect. They get to choose the card, but it does fit with that theme again of trying to make them discard. So I do have the full play set of those as well. The next card I added in because this is an all-around powerful card. And it does still fit with that theme. I added Genesis. It is a legendary from set 3. I was able to pick up 3 copies of this. I do know that legendaries are a little more difficult to get, so if you do have to cut down on this, there are other cards you can substitute. But anyway, so this guy, when he enters the field, you dull and freeze 1 forward opponent controls, so it can keep you from getting run over and killed very quickly, so it's really good. And then his secondary ability is when Genesis deals damage to your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. So again, keeping with that theme of trying to make them discard cards. Again, this one's a lot harder to find simply because it is a legendary, but it's a good enough effect, and it's a very good card. So full play set if you can. If you can't, as many as you've got, and then you can replace with some other cards, and I'll show you a couple that you can replace it with. The next card we have doesn't exactly fit with the entire theme, but it is good enough that I had to put it in here. So we did talk about this in my box opening of set 3. This is a rare from set 3. It is a forward. It's 7, and it's a really, really good card. So basically, this one says Job Class 0 Cadet forwards you control cannot be blocked by a forward of cost 4 or more. I only have the one 0 Cadet in here, and that's 7. This one here. And but her special ability, her S ability, is choose one special ability or auto ability and cancel its effect. So basically, she can get rid of, or cancel any ability that your opponent might use to try to disrupt your game plan. And I've got some other cards in here that kind of synergize with her to make it to where you can do this effect more than the 2 times that you would be allowed normally. So I do like this card a lot, and I think it's very important for taking care of basically making sure that your game plan goes through. The next one is another card from set 3. It is Dorgann. He's a 3-cost forward, wind. So as you can tell so far, this is wind and ice, or green and light blue. So this Dorgann is my answer to individual highly powered characters. Okay, so this is that one I talked about where you dull him and remove him from the game, and you choose a forward and another forward and remove from the game. So if they have some really big creature that they put out that's causing me to not be able to attack through it or whatever, I can use this guy to get rid of it. And it's just a very good utility card. I am going with the full 3. It's a heroic card from set 3. I'm going with the full 3 because I think it's very important to have that effect, and you want to be able to have it when you need it. So I went ahead and added 3 of them. Now we're getting down to, if you notice, we have all play sets of all these, and this is our last one that we have play sets of, other than Minerva, of course, and I've got a couple of singletons here that I'll explain to you. So the next one is Zargabaath from set 2. It's a rare. I have 3 foils of it, but as I said, I opened 7 boxes of set 2, so that shouldn't surprise anyone. This one is just a value card. It's a 3-drop with 5,000 power, which is a little bit underpowered, but when Zargabaath enters the field, you may play a forward of any element except ice and of cost 3 or less from your hand onto the field. So he's just a value card where he comes out and he brings out another guy. So when I was doing dry runs with this, most often it would be with either Dorgann or Zidane. And that's just really good value. So at my initial build of this, I had 2 Zargabaath and one of this other one that is another blue one. I can't remember the card name off the top of my head, but basically she came into play, and she would allow you to play a 2-drop of any color other than ice, or any element other than ice, onto the field. And I didn't think that that was good enough because most everything I have is 3 or more, and my bulk is at the 3 slot, which I think is fine, and 7 is the only 2-drop I have, and I'm okay with that. And I'll show you what I have later to kind of go through it. Another forward that we have in here, I put in here White Tiger, Lissy, Qun'mi, and basically this is just a I wouldn't say a meta choice, but this is a choice that's like, if I have an opponent that's trying to use summons to kill all my guys a lot, I can play this guy and make it a little bit harder. But so basically this guy has first strike, and when one or more forwards I control are chosen by an opponent's summons, its effect is canceled if your opponent doesn't pay 3. So it just makes all of their stuff they're trying to do more expensive, and I just like that effect. A lot of people are going to use summons to try to mess with your guys, so that just kind of makes it a little harder. Now, not every player is going to use those, so a one of is good. I could see going up to 2 on that. Like I said, if you don't have 3 Genesis, I could see substituting in White Tiger because that would be a nice replacement. It's not the same effect, but it does protect your guys, so it could help out quite a bit. And then I have another one. That is a rare from set 3. So now I have Genesis Avatar as my final forward in the deck. It also counts as Genesis, so I can't play it along with Genesis or have it in play along with Genesis. But this is a anti-swarm card. So if somebody's playing, basically I'm just going to throw out a bunch of small dudes and attack you, attack around, go wide instead of go big. And that's that strategy kind of works in this game because you only have to do 7 damage. But this one is kind of the card that I put in here to hopefully fight against that. And that's basically, he says, when Genesis Avatar enters the field, deal damage equal to half of its power to all the forwards opponent controls, and you round up. So it's a 5,000 damage to every forward that your opponent controls. So if they're doing that swarm strategy, most of those guys are going to be 4,000, 5,000 at the most. So this should wipe their board. Again, it's a one of, and that's just as a what if, a just in case type of thing to take care of swarm strategies. If I were to play in some tournaments, which I'm hoping to start because there's a shop that just opened up recently near me, and they're hoping to start doing those on Tuesday, so I'm going to run down there and try to be a part of that community. But those two right there are meta choices based on what I would play or what I think people would play. It could be the right thing to take out one or the other of these and just put in another copy of the other one. You could shave a Dorgann and put another one in there or something like that. So there are a couple different things you could do to kind of shift with the meta a little bit. But I think that having one of each of those is really good as a just-in-case type of scenario. All right, so that's the forwards. So we'll go ahead and put these away, and then I will grab the backups. And I think I have 21 forwards in the deck. Might be a few more than that, but anyway. Okay, so keeping with the theme, we have Edward. He is a rare from set 3. He does cost 3, but you'll see with one of my other cards I can make him a little bit less. The cool thing about him is you tap an ice, tap and 1, and dole him, and your opponent discards a card. I can only use this during my turn, so basically that means that I have to use it on my turn and not wait to his turn to hold up crystals to cast a summon or something like that. But regardless, it's a very, very good ability. He also has an S ability that makes him hexproof, so he can't be chosen by summons or abilities if I discard another one of them for that turn. So just a very, very good card, fits with the theme, and it's really nice because it's that ability is reusable. So I like it quite a lot. The next one is a right in the sweet spot of backups at the 2-drop slot, and it's Harley. She is a ice backup. And her ability is very simple. The cost required to play card name Edward onto the field is reduced by 2, so she just combos with him. So she adds crystal power for blue, light blue, and she also makes Edward cheaper. So just a little bit of synergy there. I am using the full 3 on both of those because I don't mind throwing away a Harley to use her as crystal power for other things. So not a big deal, but once I get one of her on the field, he only costs 1, and that's a very, very good thing for what he does. Now, these were something I added a little later in the process because I had a lot of unique backups. So a lot of times I was like, well, I might want a different effect, but I have my full 5 backups that I can have, so I can't get rid of one unless my opponent, indulges me and kills one of my backups, which you can't really rely on too much. So I added a couple two ofs in here, one green and one blue, just to make it to where I can have a cool effect and get rid of one of the backups that I might not want to have in play for a long time. So I put in a Bard. It's a standard unit from set 1. It's a common. So, you know, if you've been playing at all, if you have bought anything, you probably have a million of these. But he has an ability that says pay 1 blue or 1 ice and dull him, put Bard in the break zone. Your opponent discards 1 card from his or her hand. So it does fit that theme still. Again, as a 2 of, because you don't want a full 3 of that, I don't think. I could be wrong about that. But you generally want your more powerful backups in play. So, moving on, we do have now our first green one as a backup. It is Rikku. I went through a couple different iterations of... there's 2 different Rikkus that are really, really good as backups. And I settled on this one because it's just a lot better. And it also has some draw power with it. So this one is a 2-drop backup. It's a heroic from set 1. And the full 3. And she has an ability to pay 1 wind and dull her. Your opponent puts the top card of his or her deck into the break zone. So basically they mill 1. Now, her S ability is a slightly better version of that. Her S ability is you pay 1 wind, tap her, discard 1 of her, and your opponent puts the top 2 cards into the break zone, and you draw a card. So a little bit of draw power, a little bit of mill. So fits the theme of getting rid of their cards from their deck. I don't think this next one is going to be a surprise to anyone that watched my other video, or my first video with the opening of set 1. It is this Aerith, the 3-drop. She is just crazy. So when she enters the field, choose up to 3 backups you control other than her and activate them. So she's essentially free if you pay with her or pay for her with backups rather than with discarding cards. And then she has her Planet Protector S ability, which is discard 1 of her and dull her, activate all forwards you control, and they get hexproof till the end of turn. So just a very powerful ability if they're trying to, you know, do bad things to your forwards. This is the 2 of for the green that I have. It is the Archer. This is a common from set 1. And it's very, very simple. It's a 2-drop, and you can pay 2 wind, dull him, and put Archer in the break zone. Choose 1 backup of cost 3 or less and break it. This is the Minwu killer, essentially. Minwu is a pain in the ass, so this is to get rid of Minwu if he becomes a problem. Also, it allows me to put into play some of the other better backups that I might have. And get a good effect out of it. So that is a 2 of. I think that's right for that one. There aren't too many backups that you're wanting to kill right off the bat. If they seem to be discarding a lot of cards and helping you out that way, it might be good to just kill a couple of their backups so they have to discard more to play those. So yeah, there's a couple different strategies with that, but I think it's good to have in there just to kill Minwu mainly. Now we have 3 or 4 1-ofs in here, and I put them in here for kind of specific reasons. This one is Dr. Sid. He's a heroic from set 2. When a backup you control is broken by your opponent's summon or ability, your opponent puts 1 character from his field into the break zone. So essentially, if they are killing a bunch of your backups, you can throw Dr. Sid out there, and if they do it again, then they have to kill one of their guys, either a backup or a forward as well. So he's just like one of those that's like, hey, if you're going to keep messing with my stuff, you're going to have to mess with your own stuff as well. So it's just a very good card in that regard. So I put one in there for that reason. And it's a 1-of because I don't think you want that in play all the time. Aerith and Edward and Rikku are very, very important. Harley, not as much to stay in play. But she's good to have early for sure. The next one I have is Devout. It's a 4-drop backup from set 1. It's a common. And he is very, very simple. You dull him and put him in the break zone. Choose a forward who costs 4 or less from your break zone and play it onto the field. So this is one of those ones where if I need another discard or something, I can get back that basically anything from my deck I can get back with that guy, which is great, except for Minerva, and I think that's it, right? Minerva and Genesis Avatar are the only two that are higher than 4 cost. So basically anything in my deck I can get back with that, and that's just a good thing to have. Now, this is probably my most controversial pick, I think, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to want the other Aerith. Yeah, this is a tough one, because this one just gives all of your forwards protection against backup abilities. So it's good, but this other one allows you to untap them or ready them, as well as give them hexproof for everything. And this does discard to that, so I can see situations where you might want this one over that one. But I could see this one is probably my least confident pick that I put in this deck. Even though it is a very powerful card and I do like it, it's not necessarily game breaking. So anyway, this one could be replaced by other things, and it is a legendary from set 3. So if you don't have it, you can replace it with something else. There are other Aeriths out there that are pretty good. You could replace it with another Archer or another Bard, another Rikku, so you can use her Mug ability again. Yeah, so there's various different things you could do to replace that one. I put that in there because I think that there might be situations where that will be pretty useful. The final backup that we have is Kan-E-Senna. It's a backup heroic from set 2. It is an EX burst. None of my other ones are EX bursts, which is probably a problem. Anyway, but when she enters the field, choose one forward of cost 5 or more opponent controls and break it. So this is the anti-Cecil card or whatever they have over there that you can't get past. This one's really, really good for that. Just kill one of their big guys. That's why she's there. Very, very easy choice there. I think that a 1-of is the perfect amount there. I wouldn't, since she's a 5-drop, I wouldn't put more than 2 in there at max. An argument could be made to replace this Aerith with another Kan-E-Senna, simply because it's an EX burst, so if it gets milled, if you take damage, you can kill one of their guys. So there's a couple different things you could do there. But I think the 1-of is a really good place to start there. All right, so now we're coming down to the end here. We've got our summons. So our summons, right out of the gate, this probably won't surprise anybody. It is Hades. It is a 5-drop summon that's a rare from set 1. Very, very simple. It fits with our theme. Choose one forward and one backup opponent controls, duel the forward and return the backup to its owner's hand, and then your opponent discards a card. Very, very, very cool effect. I like all of it, all of the text on it, very, very good, and it fits with our theme, and so it's very, very good. I like it. The next card might surprise some people, but once I explain it, I think you'll understand. The next card, oh, by the way, that's a rare from set 1. This one is a heroic from set 2. It is a Serah. It is a 1-drop, and you get to choose one of 3 different things, and all of them are relevant. Choose up to 2 forwards, activate them, so that's very relevant. Choose up to 5 backups and activate them. That's a net gain of 4 crystal power if you have enough out there, so very, very good. Or choose one character card of cost 2 or less from your break zone and add it to your hand. Now, if you remember, almost everything we have, and that's a character card, so it could be a backup or a forward. In our forwards, we have 7 as our only 2-drop, but that's cool because that's allows us more options to cancel their abilities. So I do like that a lot. So that's kind of what you're going to use it for, or having big explosive turns by readying or activating all of your backups and playing like a Hades or something. So those are very, very essential. The full 3 is very good. If you don't have 3 of them, I would recommend you try to find another one. But if you can't, we could probably figure out something else to put in there. The next one is a 2 of. It is Chaos Walker of the Wheel. It's a 3-drop green that's an EX burst. Choose 1 forward opponent controls, break it. If that forward is put into the break zone, your opponent may play 1 forward from their hand onto the field. Again, like I said before, this is a very situational card. It is an EX burst, so it could screw you. But, you know, I think we've got enough stuff in here to take care of any weird eventualities with random stuff coming into play. But I put 2 of them in there because I think that it's powerful enough that sometimes you just need to go, that thing has to go away. So put 2 of them in there. I think that we've got enough character stuff that it might, you know, just be a good thing to only have the 2. It might be right to, you know, replace, you know, 1 card from over here with another one of those. I don't think so. I think 2 is the right number. But I welcome your input on that. And the very last card is a legendary from set 1. It's a Veil 4. It's a 5-drop. Return all forwards to their owner's hands. This is another one of those ones where basically, you know, it can kind of turn the game around because they've spent a lot of crystal power putting dudes out and they're trying to attack you, and you go, okay, well, now you have to pay for them again. And I have to pay for mine again as well, but I think I'm okay with that because all of my stuff is very cheap and I've got those cards that allow me to put multiples in play by only paying for 1. So, and I've also got a bunch of discards. So a lot of my stuff has come into play abilities that are like, now you have to discard a card. Now I get to choose a card for you to discard, et cetera, et cetera. So this could turn the game around quite a bit for me, depending on when it's played and things like that. So the 1 of there, I do like that. I could see an argument for just not putting this in there and putting in another Chaos Walker of the Wheel. But I do like having that one. I think it's another another good one for if they're playing a swarm strategy. It's just like slows them down quite a bit if you can play that, you know, turn 2 or 3, and it just slows them down. And so it pretty good. I do like it in there. Anyway, so that is the deck. Running through it as a dry run, meaning not against an opponent, just playing, you know, just kind of drawing hands and seeing how they would play out, hopefully. It seems like it runs pretty smoothly. You know, the Minerva you're not going to play until way late in the game, until you've pretty much got their hand down to where they're just drawing 2 and that's all they get for the turn. So, but once Minerva drops, it's pretty hard to to come out of it. It's a backbreaking card, especially if it lasts a full turn. So anyway, so that is my Minerva discard control deck. Let me know what you think of it. And if you have any suggestions, or if you want me to make a deck out of certain colors or using certain characters, let me know and I'll see what I can do. Anyway, but that's the end of this video. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. Also, I do have a Facebook page called The Gaming Champ, so if you want to go over there and like that, I'll be posting the videos there and hopefully having discussions and things there as well. Yeah, I hope you liked it, and I'll see you soon.